Small bit. Yeah, yeah. So, so, yeah. Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतसान्निध्यं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्ण पदान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गुरुद्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Okay, so just to repeat, well, so first of all, thank you, Venkaya Prabhu, for giving us opportunity to have the class in your beautiful house. Thank you so much for that. Hari Bol. A big Hari Bol. Venkaya Prabhu. Hari. And after a long time, we are having a big hall where more people can fit. Our hall is L shaped, so we are open every time, sir. So, yeah, people who are like wish to come here every time, you are welcome, sir. Thank you. No, sir, Prabhu. Prabhu, you can say, or just you can say Abhishek. So, where we were in the first chapter, Arjun Visad Yoga. So, what all we have covered till now? So, first section is the section one for it, which is introduction. It's called introduction section. Right, and we saw the preparation of war, where we saw like what Dhritarashtra asked the question, what Sanjay tells him, like what is happening. Then Duryodhan goes to Dronacharya and he asks. Like he tells about the Pandavas army, he tells about the Kaurava army, all the generals and all those things, right? And then he tells about like all the army that is preparation of war. Then we started in the science of victory session. Go quickly. So, um, so till 11, it was all the preparation of the war. Then after 11, there was signs of victory. That means like after Duryodhan gives all the praises to Bhishma and all others, then Bhishma becomes very happy. Anyone would become happy after getting a lot of praise, right? So Bhishma is very happy that what he did, like he blew his conch in like a singsad, right? And then it was thunderous sound which was coming out of that. Then all other Kaurava they also blew their conches. Then we saw what happened in once all the Kaurava they started doing their conches and other Vadiyan, other instruments like vigors, trumpets, drums, all those things. Then Pandava side also they started blowing the conches. It started with what we saw that it started with Krishna and Arjun, where they blew their Divya Shankh. We understood that we had the story of like what how it is why it is called Divya Shankh, where we discussed the story of Panchajanya, Devadatta, right? We saw like why Krishna is called Rishikesh, why Arjuna is called Dhananjay, then Karma before that. So till here we have covered. So so next is 1.16. So we're discussing like everyone, like starting from Arjun and Krishna, they started blowing the conches. So once Arjun and Krishna they blew their Divya Shankh or the transcendental conches, then other Pandava also started blowing their conches. So that is 1.16 where we will start. So you can repeat. Anant Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sughosa Maripuspakam Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sughosa Maripuspakam. Anyone from the Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sughosa Maripuspakam Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sughosa Maripuspakam. This is by A.C. Bhaktivedanta. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell. The Anant Vijay and Nakul and Sandev blew their subhos and Manipuspita. Right. So after Arjun and Krishna, they blew their conch shell. Other Pandava also started blowing their conch shell. So before we go into that, so Bhagavad Gita sloka, why it is important to recite? We discussed that last time. Anyone remember? Why should we recite Bhagavad Gita sloka? What would happen? After any answer? कोई भी guess? क्या होता है अगर भगवद गीता श्लोक आप रिसाइट करते हैं तो उससे क्या होता है? Any kind of thing आप रिसाइट करते हैं तो how what do you feel when you recite yourself? Then what do you feel after reciting? Do you feel anything? A lightness you feel? Okay, okay. Any other? Energy flowing? Okay. Anything else? These are all correct answers. There is no wrong answer. There is no correct answer, right? So anyone else? Mummy? God song, Bhagavad song, right? That's why called Bhagavad Gita, right? So that's why we should recite. But what happens when we recite? And why should we recite? Mhm. Okay. So, all apart from these things, Bhagavad Gita sloka that purifies our heart. Because this is God's word. And we are just repeating God's word. Right? So, whatever anartha we have done from millions of lifetime before, it purifies. Right? वो धीरे धीरे it starts going down. Right. That's why it's very important to recite the Bhagavad Gita sloka. And that's the reason. This class could go that way. Like I can tell everyone recite it. But I asked my Prabhuji, one Mataji, so that we'll also be habituated. And just one sloka per day if you recite, at least you starting with right, that would be good enough. Because it purifies all right. Like we say Harinam Sankirtan, right? It kills all the anartha which we have done. It reduces our anartha. Bhagavad Gita sloka is also like that. And when we recite this sloka, our walls, our home, that also becomes purified. Not only us, not only our mind, but our home also becomes purified. So you can like have sloka recitation daily also. Okay. Now coming back to the topic, to the verse. Right. So we discussed that Krishna's son, right, his conch was called Panchajanya. We discussed the story how he got the Panchajanya after killing the Panchajan Asur Rakshas, right? And Arjun's son was called what it was called? Anyone remember? Devadatta. Correct. Right. It was called Devadatta because it was given by God. It was given by Indra himself. Right. So Mataji, you had a question last time. How and when he gave this Panchajan, Devadatta, he gave a lot like the Devatas. All the Devatas gave lot of weapons. Like Yamaraj gave the mace. So Sudarshan Chakra also it was also given in the story where we discussed the chariot story of Agnidev. Right. So how Krishna got Sudarshan Chakra? There are two, three. Mahabharata says that when he was like when they were protecting the uh, when we were protecting sorry, no, when they were protecting Agni Dev or from the torrent or the rains of Indradev when they were burning the Khandwa forest. After that, Agnidev, with help of Varun Dev, he gave them chariot, he gave them horses, a lot of weapons. At that time, at that time also, he gave the Sudarshan Chakra to Sri Krishna. Right. This is what Mahabharata. But there are other Quran also. There are other stories also, like Parashuram gave the Sudarshan Chakra. But all things apart, Mahabharata says that we'll stick to that. The important thing to know is these like Shankh, Chakra, and all those things. These were always part of God's uh, God's things, right? Paraphernalia, it's called in English, right? The things which belongs to God. Everything belongs to God as such, right? But those things which He keeps, which we see in the photos and all, these are called paraphernalia. Right. So these things were always with the God. It was not like it was given by someone at that point of time, but because he came down for his Leela at the earth that time, so there has to be some way how he acquired it. So it was kind of acquiring, but it was always with him. So when Lord is in Vaikuntha, he always possesses this Sankha Chakra and all those things with him. Okay. So same way, Yudhishthir's son is called Ananta Vijay, and Nakul son we see Nakul son it was called Subhush, right? And Manipuspaka is the son of Sahadev. So just to know, like we all know Yudhishthir, he is the son of Kunti Maharani by the blessings of who? Yamraj. And Yamraj is Dharmaraj, that's why even Yudhishthir is called Dharmaraj. Right. Now Nakul and Sahadev, they were sons of who? They are from Madri. Right, not from Kunti. But we discussed in the first class that we don't even remember that they are sons of Madri. We always remember Kunti ke 5 putra the. Right? We don't even remember that. That is kind of love for the affections he had for all the five people. No discrimination. Right? While the Dhritarashtra, Mamaka Pandavascha. Right? Meri party and Pandav ki party. He was having that kind of discrimination. Right? So we should be like Kunti, not like Dhritarashtra. Alright. So Nakul and Sahadev, they were twins who were born of Ashwin Kumar's blessings from Madri. So the story goes like that because this mantra was given to Kunti by Durvasa. This was given to um, Kunti Maharani. Right. That if you will recite this mantra and then you do ahvan of any god, this god will appear in front of you and give you boon. Right. So after Kunti had all the like after Kunti had three sons, then the king he told like Madri also should have some sons. And both were not having sons, right. So he asked Kunti like if you can tell her also the same mantra she can recite, and she will have a kid also, a child also. So what Madri did like she she called two gods together, Ashwin Kumars, rather than one, right? So she called two of them together, and that's how she got these twins, Nakul and Sahadev. And after that, again, when king asked Kunti Maharani to have that again to recite for Madri to have another son, she told no, because it's already consumed, so there will not be any more. So that's it. That's why we have only one Pandav. Otherwise, it could have been more. Yeah, but Karna is not really a Pandav. Right? So that's why we have five Pandavas. So Nakul and Sahadev. So Nakul was very handsome. He was one of the most handsomest, I would say, most handsome of all the Pandavas. Right? And Sahadev, he was the most wise one. We hear very less about them. We generally don't hear who about Nakul Sahadev. We know about Yudhishthir, we know about Arjun, we know about Bhim. Right? But we hear very less about Nakul and Sahadev. So Sahadev was so wise when Rasuya was happening. तो there was a discussion who would be accorded for अग्नि पूजा जब हम यज्ञ करते हैं तो एक ही मतलब किसी एक को मतलब ऑनर करके अग्नि पूजा उसकी करते हैं we do that right so there were a lot of deliberation happening कि who should be accorded an अग्नि पूजा so there Sahadev comes and they say that it can only and only be Krishna who should be given the Agni Puja, who should be honored for the Agni Puja, because he is the supreme personality of Godhead. So he was the wisest of them, and a lot of places like he has helped the Pandavas in coming out of the situation. So his son was Mani Puspaka. All right. So in the same sabha, like when the Rasu Yagya in Rasu Yagya, he was saying like yes, it should be Krishna who should be accorded or who should be given the Agni Puja. So everyone agreed. They were like, yes, 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 Krishna is there. He got convinced everyone except one person. That person was Shishupal. Right. So Shishupal was like, how can Krishna be? Because he was always envious of Krishna. That story, right? He was always envious of Krishna. So he started blaspheming Krishna, abusing Krishna with love. So Krishna first people or Krishna also he told like they tolerated and they also asked him to stop. But no, he kept on continuing and after 100th he left like he threw his Sudarshan Chakra and he was gone. Right. So that was the story of that Rajsweer. So yeah, that is one. So 16, 17, 18 actually that goes together because it is just about like who all did what. It is all. So we'll go for 1.17. कास्यश्च परमेश्वास शिखण्डी च महारथ दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्विकीश्च परा सात्विकीश्च पराजितः काश्यश्च परमेश्वास शिखण्डी च महारथ दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्विकीश्च पराजितः anyone from Prabhuji काश्यश्च also शिखण्डी च Anyway, don't be this kind of something. So we all are in it together. You can also resign. Anyone. Don't hesitate that I don't know Sanskrit very well. So none of us knew Sanskrit very well after we left the school. So now we are learning, and I think people now can feel that now we are able to pronounce it a better way than we were 2 weeks back, right? So maybe after 4 or 5 months we'll just see and we'll recite together. So okay. So translation by Isai Bhaktivedanta from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Followed by the great archer, the king of Kasi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virat, the unconquerable Satyaki. Right. So followed by means it is coming from, that's why I said like 16, 17, 18 goes together. Right. That's why we don't have anything in between. So it always goes together. So after all the Pandava they blew their Shankh, it was followed by the king of Kasi, Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virat, and Satyaki. Right. So we discussed like who was the king of Kasi. We discussed again. We can tell again. Like so, king of Kasi like Kasi Raj. Right. He was um, he was a procreation or avatar. We will not say reincarnation of a asur named Dirgjiv. Right. So he was also fighting on the side of Pandava, and later on he was killed along with his whole army. Then comes Sikhandi. Right. So Sikhandi, there's a very interesting. We know it's the Sikhandi, right? With the help of Sikhandi, Arjuna was able to kill Dronacharya. But there is a very interesting story about Sikhandi. How Sikhandi was born, why Sikhandi was able to, why Sikhandi was able to, with help of Sikhandi, why like Arjuna was able to kill Dronacharya. Yeah. Sorry, Bhishma Pitama, not Dronacharya. Okay, I said wrong. Yes, it's Bhishma Pitama. Slip of tongue. Right. So Bhishma Pitama, how he was like how Arjuna was able to kill Bhishma Pitama with help of Sikhandi. So do you remember that story where I told like Bhishma Pitama, he wanted his okay, so he kidnapped the three daughters, Amba, Ambalika, and Ambika. You remember that story? We were discussing Rajasai style. He kidnapped those people. So to marry with Vichitravir, right? Vichitravir to marry Vichitravir, who was like the descendant of again Kuru, right? He kidnapped these three, uh, I would say princes, right? Their name was Amba, Ambika, Ambalika. So for for sake of just marrying to Vichitravir, but he was celibate, right? So anyway, he did not have to marry. So he was kidnapping for Vichitravir. At that time, it was kidnapping means Rakshasa style. We discussed like Rakshas Vivah kya hota hai. So Rakshas Vivah, like in midst of the family, the Kshatriya or the king, they used to kidnap the lady, and then they will be like opposed by other people. There will be fight, and then they have to show that they are capable of having those queens. Right. So that's how he kidnapped. He fought with the family of those princes, and then he obviously Vishnu Pitama is a most valiant fighter, the strongest of all, right? Apart from Krishna. So he was easily able to defeat everyone, and he got there. So Ambika and Ambalika, they were ready to like they were like okay, now that we have been proposed to get married with Vichitravir, so they will be like, okay, will marry. But Amba, the first princess, she did not wanted to marry. She did not want to marry Vichitravir because in her mind, she always had she wanted to marry Shalya, right, the king of Shalyadesh. So what happened? Like she tells that to Mr. Pitama that I did not want to marry Vichitravir, but I want to marry Shalyadev. So Mr. Pitama agrees, like, okay, respecting her words, respecting her opinion, he took her back to. or he asked her that you can go back, or you can. He actually left her to Saldesh to go and get married itself. But then what happened? After she asked like, I want to marry you. There is said because you have been touched by another Kshatriya, I cannot marry you. So that was the rules. There were a lot of rules that time it was followed. Nowadays we have we have zero rules to follow. So that time there was Kshatriya code which was followed. So if a woman is touched by another Kshatriya, she will not get married with the one she wants. Right. So that's how he refused. I cannot marry you because you won't be touched by this Pita. So she becomes very upset and furious also, obviously. Right. She wanted to marry Sally and he rejected her. So she comes back to Vishmitama and says that because you have kidnapped me, now no one will marry me, you only have to marry with me. But Vishmitama has taken the vow of celibacy. He cannot marry. So he tells I cannot, I have taken a vow, I cannot marry you, that's impossible. So she tries to convince him, no, because it is your doing, so you do. You have to marry. But obviously, Pitama will not marry him. So she goes back and complains to Parasuram. Parasuram is the guru of Pitama. So Parasuram comes and tries to convince her, tries to convince Pitama to get married. He said, no, I cannot break my vow at any condition. So Parasuram, if you cannot break your vow, you have to fight. So the very fierce fight happened between Pitama and Parasuram. And think how strong Isupitama was. Parasuram is direct avatar of Lord Krishna. Right. His direct avatar. But he was still able to give him so fierce fight, so strong fight that it went for long, long time and no one came out victorious. So Parasuram comes back to Amba and he says that I cannot help you. Like he gives up and he says that I cannot help you. I have to manage it somehow. So now Abba was very, now she was very upset and um, yeah, very upset. So what she started, she like, I will leave my life because in this life I'm not going to get, I don't want to get married. I will leave my life. So what she does austerity for Lord Shiva, and she like, yeah, I'll leave my body. So she started doing the penance for Lord Shiva, and she gets the boon that she will be born as that was her that I should be the cause of Vishmitama's death. Right. So she gets the boon from Lord Shiva that he will be born as a lady in next life, and that's how she was born as a woman or as a kid, female kid to Drupad. So it was not just Draupadi who was Drupad's daughter; it was Shikhandini. So she was born first as Shikhandini, but with the blessing of Yaksha and some place it is said with blessing of Shiva, she became a he. Right. But she was born as a lady or as a woman, female, but she became, or as a he, she became a boy later, and that's how like she's called like it's called transgender. Right. That's how. So when she reached, and because she had a boon from Lord Shiva that you will be the cause of death for this Pitama. Now when she goes, when Arjuna takes Sikhandi in front of him for killing Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra, what he did, he put down all his weapons. Then I cannot attack on a woman because she was born as a woman. Even though he is now a boy, right? But she was born as a woman, so Vishwamitra said, I cannot fight with a woman. So he lays down. That was his vow. That he will only fight with a Kshatriya code also, and he has taken the vow also, or any Kshatriya actually. That if they will fight only with the male Kshatriya. They will not lay a weapon or they will not or they will not throw a weapon on any of the female warriors. So he put down his weapon, and that's how Arjun was able to kill. So that was the story of Sikandi or Sikandi. Then Drishtadyumna, we know the story of the friend of Drupad was friend of Dronacharya, right? So after a lot of things, we already discussed that how he was able to get after all the yajna, he was able to get the Drishtadyumna, who would be the cause of death for Dronacharya, just to take the revenge. So that was Drishtadyumna. Then Virat was the king of Matsya, and if you remember that, he was the one like under whom kingdom Pandava at the last year of their Vanvas, they changed their appearances and they were hiding in his kingdom only, being the Brahman. So that was Virat, and then unconquerable Satiki. Right, he was the chieftain of Yadav Sena. Chieftain means the main general of Yadav Sena. Right, and he was a great devotee of Krishna. Right, like he was a very great devotee of Krishna. So that's why he was like fighting on the side of Pandava, and also that he was accompanying before the war happened. So Krishna went as a last resort. He went as a peace messenger. Right, at least now this is the last chance for you. He went to the Kauravas. This is last chance. Please accept the peace so that this all can be avoided. This all war can be avoided. So he was the one who accompanied Krishna along with in his peace message. So he fought with his 10 sons, and all of them were killed during the war itself. So those were all those people in mentioned in 1.17. And the next verse will go to 1.18. Drupado Draupadi सर्वसर्वपते सौभाग्यश्च महाबाहो शंखनादं पृथक् पृथक् द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयश्च सर्वसर्वपृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहो शंखान्दर्पो पृथक् पृथक् एवं सम्प्रदीयते द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयश्च सर्वसर्वपृथिवीपते सौभाग्यश्च महाबाहो शंखान्दर्पो पृथक् पृथक्. Anyone from Mataji? द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयश्च सर्वसर्वपृथिवीपते सौभाग्यश्च महाबाहो शंखान्दर्पो पृथक् पृथक्. So translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So Draupad, the son of Draupadi, and others, Drupad, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective concerts. So again, following he is taking about names of all the warriors. Right. So we start with the Drupad. We just discussed about Drupad, right? Then it comes like to sons of Draupadi. Right. So we discussed like there were 5 sons of Draupadi, one from each Pandava. Right. And how they were all killed by Ashwatthama when they were sleeping in the evening after the war. Right. That was not a Kshatriya code. That once the sun sets, there is no enmity. Yes, in mind their enmity was there, but there is no enmity. They will not do anything. They should not do. They are not allowed to do anything which is like a war activity. Right. So it's like a lot of time they used to happen. They will even go to each other's camp to greet each other, talk to each other. Only from morning to sunset, the war will happen. After that, everything will be normal. That was the Kshatriya code of the war. But then, when Dronacharya was killed, Ashwatthama was furious. What he did after the sunset, when everyone was sleeping, he enters into Pandava's camp. He killed a lot of people, including all the sons of Draupadi. Right. That was breaking the code. That was breaking the code of the Kshatriya code. Right. And even though he was caught and somehow he was left alone, but he did the similar thing again when he tried to release the Brahmastra on the last surviving Pandava descendant, that is Parikshit Maharaj, who was in womb of Subhadra. Right. Um, Uttara, no, sorry, not Subhadra, who was in the womb of Uttara. Right. So he tries to release the Brahmastra again, and then Lord Krishna, when Uttara remembers Lord Krishna, he enters Lord Uttara's womb, and then he releases Sudarshan Chakra to nullify that Brahmastra. Right. So he did it again. So time again and again he was breaking those codes, and that's why he is cursed to not get liberated so soon. But he will be living long. That's why he has Amarantu. The only Amar person or the only immortal person who's cursed, right, with all the wounds and all the pain. Right. All other are we know they are immortals with good things. Right. They are immortal for good qualities. But he was the one who was cursed immortal. So that are the sons of Draupadi. All are very valiant warriors. And then comes the son of Subhadra, Abhimanyu. Right. So Abhimanyu, we all know the story, like how Abhimanyu was how strong or ferocious fighter Abhimanyu was, and how he was the only one apart from Arjuna who knew how to enter into how to get into Chakravyuh. No one else knew. But unfortunate part was like he was only 16 years old by the way when he entered the Chakravyuh, and he did not know how to come out of it. Right. So when he entered like all those seven generals, including Kripacharya, Drona, right, Karna, they all started attacking him. After Jarasandha, they stopped the Pandava army coming back from behind. Right. So they all started attacking him together at the same time. And however strong he was, like if there are a lot of people together, he cannot overcome everyone. And that's how he was killed. So a lot of time question comes, बहुत सारे लोग question पूछते हैं कि why like Drona was killed unjustly or with injustice? Why Karna was killed in unjustly? A lot of time people ask this question, right? We think that they were killed unjustly, but we don't think or they the people who ask they don't think that even they did this kind of similar. They did with Abhimanyu. They invited that the karma they are doing, right? That will be done for them also. That was the karma. They did injustice to Abhimanyu. They got that injustice back. Right. So it was their own karma what they were paying. It was not that somehow unjustly or with injustice they were killed. It was what they did, they are following. They are getting, they got. We say that what goes around comes around. Right. So that was the thing. So that was the about Abhimanyu. So in this that was so it is still 16, 17, 18. After all the Pandava they blew their sun, then all these warriors Kashiraj, Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virat, Satyaki, Drupad, the sons of Draupadi, right, Abhimanyu, and a lot of other people, they all blew their respective concerts. Right. So that was 1.18. So here it is mentioned like Sanjay informed, so same thing, 16, 17, 18, this is the translation by Srila Prabhupada. Like Sanjay informed King Dhritarashtra very tactfully that his unwise policy of receiving the sons of Pandu and endeavoring to dethrone his own sons on the seat of kingdom was not very laudable. Right. These signs were already clearly indicated that the whole Kuru dynasty would be killed in that great battle, beginning with the grandsire Bhishma down to the grandsons like Abhimanyu and others. So not only from Pandava side, even from the Kaurva, not only from Kaurva side, but even from Pandava side, everyone would be killed. The whole dynasty is going to be finished. So that's what the Sanjay informs uh, Pandava. So, okay. Beginning with the behavior, including the kings from many states of the world, all were present there and all were doomed. The whole catastrophe was due to King Dhritarashtra because he encouraged the policy followed by his sons. Right. So Srila Prabhupada says that in particular purport. We discussed about the war. It was not just a small war, just not a family war. Everyone's family. We have seen people fighting, brothers fighting, father and son fighting. Right? We have seen in the family. We will be very lucky if we have not seen in our family someone fighting with another person. Right? That's a kind of unknown thing in today's Kali Yuga. Right? So that started. This kind of thing started in Dwapar Yuga itself. So that war was not a small war, that was kind of world war. And that is all the Leela of Bhagwan Sri Krishna, to bring all those Kshatriyas together and kill them at one shot. So because there were so many crores of Kshatriya and they were doing a lot of injust, I would say, not pious activities. They were like harassing people and oppressions were there. They were king like Duryodhana who were like oppressing people. So there were a lot of wrong things which were being done at that time. At that time, what happened like Bhudevi, one of our mother, one of our seven mothers, right, Bhudevi, Dharti Mata we say that right. So she goes to Lord Brahma and she asks like, I'm not able to take the burden of all these sins which is being carried out by all those Kshatriya. Right. So think of scenario like our son or our children. If they make some wrong thing, in the end we'll be burdened, right? We'll be like, this is very wrong thing and I'm not able to do, I'm not able to control. We'll be feeling bad for them, even though we can do or we cannot do anything. Right. So same way, Bhudevi, she goes back to Brahma, she goes to Brahma and she tells like, these all sins which are being carried out from long time, I'm not able to take the burden. So Brahma with Bhudevi and other Devata, they went to Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Right. So that's one type of Vishnu, Kshirodaksha, who is sleeping the Kshir Sagar. Right. Someday we have discussed that three types of Vishnu. So they go to Kshirodaksha Vishnu and then they ask uh, like what can be done, and then he gives the assurance that I will be coming on Sambhavami Yuge. Not that he tells that, but like Krishna says Sambhavami Yuge Yuge to uh, पवित्राणाय साधुना विनाशाय च दुष्कृताम् धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे. Right. So to re-establish the dharma, to kill all the sinful people, I'll be coming back to earth. So he tells that I'll be coming back, or I'll be taking my avatar, coming to earth. So yeah, that was that small pastime, like how Bhudevi goes back to with Brahma and other Devata, how she goes to Vishnu to take avatar to kill them. So that's what it is mentioned here. And this was all Krishna Leela. He wanted all these people, all these Kshatriya to come at one place and kill them at one stroke, at one point of time. Right? One stroke is not just by one shot. He can actually do that. He's a god. He can do with one chutki itself. Right? But yes, why he did not do by himself? Because we'll discuss that later. But just to give you a glimpse of it, just to give you a little idea, Lord always wants to glorify his devotees, his bhakt. Right? He can do a lot of things, but he always wanted to give some chance to or give some glorification to the devotees so that they can do this thing, the glorious thing, and they will be remembered in the histories for good things. Like even we can do homework of our kid, right? Or a lot of things. But what we do, we say, nahi tum karo. Or something good which our kid can do, we ask them to, acha, you do this so that they can be like praised. Okay, you did very good job. They can learn also, they can be praised also. Same thing Lord also does with his devotees. We are all sons of God. So that catastrophe, one was like it was Krishna Leela by medium of Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra, like he wanted his sons only to be on the throne, or Duryodhan to be on the throne of the whole kingdom. So his policy, indirectly Sanjay was saying like this policy is not a good policy, and that will be the cause of killing of all the people. So next, what happens? Like, so we'll discuss that. So once everyone blew their conches, what happens? So Bhagavad Gita 1.19. Saghuso dharta rashtrana hridayani vyadar yat navascha prithvi chaiva tamulo abhyunadayan saghuso dharta rashtrana hridayani vyadar yat navascha prithvi chaiva tumulo abhyunadayan. Any Guruji say? Saghuso dharta rashtrana Hridayanivada Tabulo Yadnadaya Sarvasodhati Lashtrani Hridayanivada Tabulo Yadnadaya. So translation by Srila Prabhupada. The blowing of these different conchs become uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Very important understanding here, right? When we saw that Kauravas were blowing their conches, Sanjay did not mention that the Pandava army heart was shattered. Right? It was not mentioned anywhere. If you'll see here, like after Kaurav blew their conches, drums and all, the sound was tumultuous. That was what it mentioned. The sound was tumultuous. But there was very huge sound which came. But it does not say that the other army, or the Pandava army, their heart was shattered. But when you go here, it is said that it shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra and their army. Right. What could be the reason? Why it shattered the heart? It is not mentioned for the Kaurava side, but it is mentioned from the Pandava side. Why? That will happen later. But no one goes to war that I am going to get defeated. Huh? That is understanding, but yeah, few people knew like this. Pitama he knew because he is a great devotee of Lord Krishna, and when he is fighting against Lord Krishna, it's certain that he will get defeated. But not everyone would be thinking that way. Right? Not everyone knows that Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead is there in that, and even if they know, they have to fight from the other side. But what could be the reason that yes, Panchajanya? Yeah, it is that because their concepts were transcendental. They were with Krishna. That is the reason. Absolutely. Right. They had the transcendental concept, which is not mentioned for the Kaurava side. Their concept was it is ordinary concept. It was loud like a lion when Bhishma did. Right. When others did, there were tumultuous sound was coming. But it was still not transcendental. So what it did, like when the Pandava army blew their concept, the sound was so transcendental and it was so loud that the heart of the Kaurava army actually it was shattered. They became so fearful. जब होता है ना तो जब पता चले कि सामने इतना ज्यादा साउंड हो उधर we become fearful क्या होगा we become fearful. So that kind of condition happened. Hridayani Virdharya. Hridayani Vedarya. Right, which is mentioned here. So their heart became full of the fear and their heart got shattered. So height of the sons of Dhritarashtra and their army were shattered because the sound vibrated by Pandava's party. So why it is that? Because this is due to Pandavas and their confidence in Lord Krishna. One who takes shelter of Supreme Lord has nothing to fear. Very important line. So every verse in Bhagavad Gita they have one. They can give you one or many lessons. So this is a very important line. One who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of greatest calamity. That world war is the was the greatest calamity. Right? There are 64 crore people who gathered to kill each other. Right? What could be the greatest calamity from like that? So even that greatest calamity is there. The Pandavas' heart were not shattered, but the other side shattered because they are with Krishna and they have surrendered to Krishna. And when we have surrendered to Krishna, when we take Krishna's shelter, we have nothing to fear about because Krishna will take care of everything. So very important lesson. Sometimes what happens in our general life, we have a lot of time we have been in situations, right? We lose our job, there are some financial trouble which comes, right? Medical trouble and all. But when we take center of Krishna, these things becomes very small. So I heard a story from Dhiren Prabhu. You know Dhiren Prabhu now, I guess. Everyone knows him. Right. So he was telling that when he was in Pune, there was one devotee and he lost his job. Right. And he has a son, um, one or maybe one or more sons. Right. He lost his job and for someone, he was in good position, but then suddenly he lost the job because of layoff and all. So people were coming to console him and he was like, look, look, this is plan of God. So that's a good time. So he did not for 1 month or one a couple of months. He did not even search for the job. He did not. And what he did, he was like so positive and optimistic. But this is the time given by the Lord Krishna, so that whatever was pending work for me, like reading the Srimad Bhagavatam and all those things, I can finish it out. So for a couple of months, he was not even searching for the job, and he was just doing all the services. He was reading Srimad Bhagavatam and all. People were actually sad that he lost his job because he was a very amazing devotee. Right? So people were sad he lost his job and he was very happy. So people were surprised, why he was so happy, you are not even like we are having the tension, we are having the anxiety that you are not having job, but he was so happy. How he like that? He said, Krishna will take care. He has given me time to be always taking care. And after a couple of months, he got even much better job. Right. So Krishna will take care of the thing. So that's what it is mentioned here. One who takes shelter of Supreme Lord has nothing to fear. Because these all things are part and parcel, like part and parcel of the Lord's plan. Right. Whatever he does, it's for the best of us. We may not see at this point of speech. When something bad happens, we think only short term, right? We think, why with me? क्यों हुआ मेरे साथ? ऐसा मैंने क्या किया था? मैं तो इतने श्लोक रिसाइट करता हूँ. ठीक. मैं तो एक तो भगवान के मंदिर भी जाता हूँ. I do this, I do that. But why only me? वो बंदा जो कुछ नहीं करता उसके साथ कुछ नहीं हुआ. So first of all, we have to understand that it is for our own benefit. May not be may not be manifested or may not be seen now, but after few years, when you look back, you will say that whatever happens, it happens for the good, for us. Like, if we are doing or if we are surrendering to God, we are doing for the Lord, we are doing service, He will take care of everything. So very important line here. So that's shattering the heart of God. Right. Then, so after that, what happens? So we'll be coming back now till 20. Um, okay, so till 20, till here, it was all the about the preparation of the war. Then from 20, what start like now it is Arjun who is going to give his first instruction. So we know that Krishna is sharing here of first. Right. So we are coming to that part. So we'll recite together. So 20 and 21, or 22, 21, 22. There are three lines you can see here. And these are not one line. Two lines. Generally, sloka are two lines. But there are sometimes you will see that there will be some sloka which are three lines. Right. So 3, 3, 6. So that's how it covers the three sloka 20, 21, 22. So we'll recite together. अथ व्यवस्था अर्थव्यवस्थिता दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् अपि ध्वज कपिध्वज प्रभृति शस्त्र संपाते धनुरुद्यम्य पांडवा ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदम् आह महीपते. अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वज प्रवृत्ति शस्त्र संपाते धनुरुद्यम्य पांडवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदम् आह महीपते. Anyone from Prabhupada? Vyavastya. Vyavastya. At vyavastya. 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 At the time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot, bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrow. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra, drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. So, before speaking these words, what happened? So, very important thing here mentioned here. Previously, we saw that Arjuna was mentioned with what names? You remember? What was Arjuna called in previous verses? Anyone remember? There were a couple of names how Arjuna was mentioned in previous verses. So, so Arjuna was called Pandava before, son of Pandava. He was also called Pratha is not coming. No, Pratha is not coming. Let's see. He was also called Dhananjay. Right. He was also called Dhananjay. Right. And he was called Sorry? No, Path has not come yet. Okay. I think only two names he was called. Right. Dhananjay, Pandava. Right. So here a new name came for Arjuna. Kapit Vijay. Right. So this particular section is going signs of victory from 1.12 to 1.20. Then what were the signs of the victory? There were some signs, a small sign that Pandava will be victorious. So here is another sign, Kapitochan. Now there is a beautiful story how Hanumanji came on the flag of Arjuna. Right. So what happens? What happens in that story is during Vanvas, Draupadi was sitting at, she was just sitting on the side of lake, just nearby in a forest, and the wind was blowing, and then 1,000 petal lotus, it came to her, and it was having a beautiful fragrance, and it was like a very beautiful lotus, looking transcendental. That came flying near Draupadi, and she was so enchanted with that particular lotus that she asked him, "I want more of such," and then it flew away. Like then I want more such lotus flowers so that I can give it to Yudhishthira. Just before, not just before, but yeah, he always wanted to keep her happy because of all the insult and all the but disturbing of Draupadi. So whatever she used to say, he was like, yes, I will do it. So he went to find out the source of the flower, from where it came. So he was going up in the forest, then he was going up in the hill to find out the sources by smelling it. The smell was so strong that he could follow that smell, and he was just following from the source of this smell. So he goes up in the mountains, deep in the forest, and then he meets a lot of tribes and a lot of creature. He fights everyone they were stopping. Then he reaches one lake. That lake had even more like higher planet creature, right? The residents of a higher planet. So he fought with them and he defeated him. Right? He was easily able to defeat everyone. He's that strong he was. So he defeated everyone, and then by at the end of like when he defeats everyone, he hears a loud roar. Like think of it like you are a jungle and very loud roar comes. What happens to you? We are not being, we'll be scared. But it was such a thunderous roar, it was such a loud and strong roar that even Bhim was scared and he got goosebumps. The hair on his body stood up, like all the hair. Bhim, think Bhim, like not ordinary person, but a person like Bhim, he got scared, such a loud roar was it. Then he was like very curious from where such a loud roar is coming. So he followed that. A couple of times that happened, two, three times. Then he was following, and he was going like to follow where. And he reaches at, and he saw there is a huge monkey sleeping. Right. That monkey was of golden color. His fur were like a foam, very soft foam. He was very beautiful monkey, and it's of golden color. Like the radiance was coming golden out of monkey. I'm thinking, who is this huge monkey? And like when he was reaching that one time again, that monkey he puts his or he just strikes the earth with his tail, and again the whole place shakes. And we were like, who's this monkey? Like what? So he goes to that monkey and asks, who are you? Right. And yeah, he has not gotten the flower yet, by the way. But he has just crossed the lake. So he said, like, you are on my way. Who are you? He said, I'm just a poor small monkey. I'm just old. Uh, I'm just an old monkey, an old weak monkey. They said, you are on my way. Just get out of my way. So he said, no, I cannot. I'm very weak, so I cannot get out of your way. You can just simply cross. Right. So he said, no, I cannot cross. Right. I cannot cross. What is the reason he cannot cross? Anyone knows? We say no, if a kid is or someone is sleeping, don't cross them. What is the reason? Generally, we follow in our custom also. They don't cross anyone if they are sleeping or if they are just even sitting there. But water say आपका क्या हो? मतलब what will it? No, not river. I'm not talking about river. Say if say W Prabhu is sleeping, I should not cross him. I should not cross him, right? It is our custom that don't cross anyone who is sleeping or who is pretty much. What could be the reason? And, huh? Actually, that's if absolutely that's exactly the reason. Everyone have Paramatma within them, right? He's living in every creature's body. When we cross someone, that means we are crossing Paramatma. डब्ल्यू प्रभु said very correctly that हमारे अंदर परमात्मा है अगर उसको क्रॉस कर रहे तो परमात्मा को क्रॉस कर रहे that is the reason it is called like don't cross him we don't know the reasons there are lots of custom which we follow there is always a reason behind that but हम हमें नहीं पता होता है we just follow right but everything has a reason so that's why it's called they don't cross someone so he said the same thing to that monkey that I cannot cross you there is a Paramatma in that I cannot cross Paramatma so you move your you move aside and so that I can just pass from this. He said, no, I cannot move it. What you do? You just move. You can. So his tail was actually on the way. He said, you move my tail. I cannot. I'm very weak. I will not be able to do. Are you not that strong that you can move my tail? That monkey says. He said, Bhima's ego comes up. What to speak of my strongness? My brother, I'm as strong. My brother was as strong that he can cross the whole. He could cross the whole ocean, right? I cannot cross you, but you're just an ordinary monkey. You're the big inside, but you're just a weak monkey. I cannot cross you. What to talk about my weakness? So then who Hanuman? So he tell like my brother Hanuman, he could cross the ocean by one jump. I can simply cross you, but I will not do it because Paramatma is there. He said, who Hanuman? He said, Hanuman is my elder brother. I am Vayuputra. He is also Vayuputra. I said, Acha, okay. So, said, and still, whatever it is, if you are that strong, your brother was that strong, just move my tail and just pass away. What is the problem? So we are like, okay, this monkey is not listening, let me move his tail. He goes and he tries to lift his tail. He could not even move 1 inch. Bhimkar, right? The strongest of all the warrior by strength, right? Not like this Pitama by knowledge and all those things, but by strength he was the strongest of all the warriors in the world. And he could not move his tail 1 inch. So he tries one time, two time, with full strength, Bhimkar Bigodara, that he could not move 1 inch. Then he understood this is not an ordinary monkey. So he pays respect to that monkey. He says, "Ki aap kaun hai? Who are you?" Then he said, "I am Hanuman." Right? The Hanuman you are talking about, that is me. So he becomes very happy. Oh, Hanuman, matlab, I got to meet my elder brother first time in my life. So he tells, he can, please show me the form which you used to cross the ocean, the big form. And so he tells, like, I cannot show you in this yoga because in that yoga, so every yoga, the things keeps going smaller. Right. We think that we are very tall, we are 6 feet, and this we are none of us are 6 feet except for Muji. Right. So we think that we are 6 feet or this and that. That time people used to be even more taller. Right. So whenever yoga passes, the things, all not just people, the things goes back smaller. So he tells that in this age, in the Dwapar Yuga, if I'll have this form, people will get scared. They cannot even see. Right. And they'll be highly, very scared, so I cannot swim. But he was very adamant, no, please show me the form. I said, okay, you are my brother and you are my younger brother and you have paid a good respect for me, so I'm pleased with this, so I'll just show you this form. So we started getting into that form. And it was so huge that Bhima was like, even saying his poetry, still he could not see his face. That big was the form of Hanumanji. Just like when Krishna shows Virat form to Arjuna. He could not see. It was all in all direction. He could not see where is the beginning, where is the end. There were everywhere. There were faces of Krishna and all those people. There, Asankhya face, Asankhya, Asankhya things he will see. Like we'll see when we go to that part. What all things he saw. Right. The similar way he could not see. Then he got scared. That he said like, please come back to your original form. So he comes back. The Hanumanji comes back to original form. And then he said, I'm very pleased with you. So you tell me what do you want? If you want, I can go to Hastinapur and kill all those. I'll just destroy the whole kingdom and you will get the throne. Or if you want, I'll bring them here in front of you, I'll tie them and you can kill him. So Bhima said, no, please, we have taken a vow to personally kill them. Right. Just give your blessings because you are Hanumanji, please give us your blessings. Right, so you tell, I will give you blessing. And also I am giving you promise that whenever you roar in the battle, I will roar along with you. So Bhima, when he was walking in the forest also, because he was so big, he was like roaring and walking and stamping everything. It was made a way on the, like people when we go on the forest, we become Pagdandi. You know Pagdandi? Right, a small footsteps, because of that it becomes a small way. Right. So that happens after like months of walking by people. When Bhimas was walking, it was everything is breaking and walking. It made a kind of a way on the his walk path. So he said like when you will roll, Bhima, Kshatriya, when battle they roll. So when you will roll, I will roll along with you. And think when Hanumanji roars in the battle, what will happen? This is just the starting of that Sankhnar. There is the transcendental vibration which shattered the heart of the enemy. When Hanumanji roars, what will happen? Just think about it. So he gives the promise and he said, like, I will be sitting on the flag of Arjuna and I'll be roaring along with you. Every time you roar, I will roar along with you, and that will be like, it will create the great fear in the heart of the enemy. So that's why the Arjuna is also called Kapitvajan. Right. That is the story behind that. So going to the son of Dhritarashtra was more or less disheartened by unexpected arrangement of military force by Pandavas. Right. So battle was just about to begin, and everyone was preparing. But when Kaurava, especially Duryodhana, when he sees that Pandava somehow have the big army, he was very disheartened. How come like they don't have a kingdom, they don't have any resources, they don't have any money? How come they have this big army? And then the council, the blowing of those transcendental council, everything all together like that, make him more disheartened and fearful by seeing all this unexpected arrangement of military forces. So these all were signs. So what all signs did we see for the victory of Pandavasena? Shankha, transcendental Shankh, yes. Hanumanji. One biggest sign is front of huge army. Huge army, no. Actually, huge army. The Kaurav Sena was even bigger. So Pandav Sena was just having seven Ashwini Sena, right? They had 11. That is more than 50% more than Pandava army. That's a huge, huge number. 7 versus 11. Right. So the Sena wise they were bigger. So it was not the Sena, but there is signs which are coming up. Like Krishna. Krishna is there on their side, right? Hanumanji is there. Now very important part. The same thing which happened in Ramayana is getting repeated in this age also. When Ram and Hanumanji at the same side, what was the result? And here also at the same chariot, Ram and Hanumanji is there. Ram is Krishna, right? So those all were signs that Pandava are certain to become victorious. So that's what mentioned here. The emblem of Hanumanji on flag of Arjuna was another sign of victory. Now both Ram and Hanuman were present on the chariot of Arjuna to help him. Lord Krishna is Ram himself, and wherever Lord Ram, his eternal servitor Hanuman, and his eternal consort Sita, even Sri, Sita is also with him. Wherever Narayan would be there, Lakshmi would be there. Right, so that is by default. So all these people are at the same chariot. That's a sure sign of victory. Therefore, Arjuna had no cause to fear any enemy whatsoever. And above all, Lord of the senses, Lord Krishna was present, personally present to give him direction. He is giving him direction as a charioteer. Right? What else anyone wants? If God is telling me this to do, I don't have to do anything. That is what the surrendering is. Right? I know the God is telling me that has to be good. And that is for my victory only. So he himself is the Lord of the senses. Why it is called Lord of the senses? Rishikesha. Rishikesha means Lord of the senses. So Lord of the senses himself present to give the direction. Thus all good counsel was available to Arjuna in that matter of executing the battle. In such auspicious conditions, arranged by the Lord for his eternal devotee, lay the signs of assured victory. Right. So that was all the signs of victory. Then next what happens? Uh, will go. Now that Arjuna is prepared to give his first instruction to Krishna. So before we go into that, what we know the story how Krishna was ready to how Krishna became the charioteer of Arjuna. Let's have that again. So what happens? We know the story of like before the war started, Arjun and um, Duryodhan. Correct. Arjun and Duryodhan they goes to Dwarka to ask help from Sri Krishna. And Arjuna is sitting on first Duryodhan reaches, he sits just beside the head of Sri Krishna, and Arjuna sat as being a devotee, he sat at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. And when Sri Krishna woke up, he sees the Arjuna, he asked him, what do you want? He tells Narayana. Sorry, it is I want you. Right? He gives you want me or Narayana said that is your choice. He said I want you. And Duryodhan like it's like I didn't even have to ask. I got it just like that. This is what I came for. And Narayana Sena was a huge, huge sinner. So many warriors and very strong warrior. So he was happy. It's like I didn't even have to ask. We were like, what a fool this guy Arjun is. He came here, he got the first, and then also he took Krishna, and I got the whole like millions of warrior of Narayani Sena to fight for me. Right. So he goes back happily. Why? Because he was thinking materially. We discussed last time that Duryodhana was always thinking materially, that about the numbers. He was like, I got this big army, I have that many people, I have that many generals, that strong generals. Right. So we discussed what our Acharya says that all those material assets are like zeros. Right. You can have a billion zero, a trillion zero, still it will be zero. It will not be. While one, what our Acharya says, one is Krishna, or God is the one. Right. If you put that one in front of that all the zeros, that will have value. It will actually become trillion. Those zeros you write trillion times, it will still be zero. But you put one before that trillion, it becomes a trillion or billion or billion, whatever number it is, right? Which is always bigger than all the zeros. So Duryodhana was always thinking materially. So he was very happy. I got the Narayani Sena, and this guy is foolish guy. He got only this Krishna. What a foolish guy. So he was going back happy. So when he went back, Krishna asked Arjuna, why did you select? Why did you choose me? You had at your disposal the whole Narayani Sena. And why did you have to select me? So Arjuna said that you on my side, that is enough for me. Because I know you are supreme personality of Godhead. So Matari, you asked like, I think a couple of classes back, why Arjuna, did Arjuna know all these things? You or someone I did, I think, asked. Right. So Arjuna always knew that Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead. That's why he chose Krishna. That being God at my side, nothing can defeat. It's not about the numbers, it's about the one. It's not about the zeros. Right. So that's what he was like when Duryodhana got the whole army. Before going back from Dwarka, he goes to Balram also. Balramji. He met Balramji, but Balramji said like, I'm not going to participate in the war. I'm going for. So how he said that I'm going for Tirth Yatra? So that no one can ask him. I already made plan. We do that, right? Someone comes to us, to go चल रहा है. अरे मेरा तो पहले से plan. So like that he like I'm already going for Tirth Yatra. I'll not participate in the war. So Balram again, but he asked other people, Varma and also he got other people on his side. So Duryodhana was very happy. This is my successful yatra of Dwarka. I got huge army at my disposal. But then what he did not think, that what he did not got is God. God is God. Which Arjuna gave. Here's what the question. It's a working Lord Krishna, right? And Lord Krishna always look like the one who is at the Taral side, definitely they will going to die. And why the Lord Krishna you all say uh, like so got your question. So the question is like why Narayani Sena? They were all devotee of Sri Krishna. Then why Krishna gave all the army to Duryodhana and Kaurava? Right, even though when they were devotee of Krishna. So, Matari, every creature in this world is playing its part in Lord Krishna's Leela. Right. And when he gave those army to Kaurava or Duryodhana, they were also just following the instruction of Lord Krishna. It is his army. If I am giving you my, say, my children, you take them and you make them warrior or do whatever is a good thing for the cause of dharma. That is at the end it will be for the cause of dharma, right? So even though they were fighting against Krishna, they were fighting on the instruction of Krishna. That we have to remember. It was Krishna's desire what they are fulfilling. Even though they will die, they know they will be liberated. They actually came here itself as an associate of Krishna to play the part of in this Leela. Vishnu Pitama. He was a great devotee of Sri Krishna. Right. But he was also playing a part in this whole role. He could have came to the Pandava army. He was very affectionate to Pandava. But he knew that he had to pay. No, that is one of the reasons. Then one of the reasons that he was bound by the Raj Dharma. But even bigger reason is that is one of the reasons for the material world. He, my Raj Dharma is because the trust or the Kauravas are taking care of me, so I have to pay them back. The नमक का खर्च होता है, मैंने आपका नमक खाया तो I have to चुकाना पड़ेगा. ठीक. So even though that is one of the material reason, but even the bigger reason is that Mr. Pitama is a great devotee of Lord Krishna, right? And he knowingly playing the part to give Krishna the Veer Ras, the only person against whom Krishna took that weapon, not Sudarshan Chakra. In the war, he told that I will not be participating, I will not take any weapon, right? But he took out the wheel, right, for Bhishma to give him weakness. So we discussed that last time. Last time we discussed that only Lord's eternal associate can give them that kind of pleasure. If Lord wants to get the weakness, or he wants to understand, he wants to get the feeling, the courage, not courageous, it's not a correct word, but weakness, like fighting spirit. He wants to feel, he wants to have that spirit that only Lord associate can give them a good match or give them like Hiranyaksh and Varadev, Jay Vijay, right? Who came as Hiranyaksh, Hiranyakasipu. They again came as Ravan and Kumbhakarna, and in this they came as Shishupal and Dantavakra. So like that, Bhishma also he did not come as a demon, but to give him viewers he came. So that is the spiritual reason. Material reason, yes, he was just following the last time. Right. So same way, Narayani Sena is also fulfilling the desire of Krishna. It is Krishna's instruction that you fight on the Kaurava side. How can they say no? They cannot. If they say no, that means they are committing a great sin. So they fought, and they knew that after getting killed, we'll be going back to Godhead only. So they knew already. They knew their uh, destiny or the fate, but they were doing for the pleasure of Krishna, for the desire of Krishna, to fulfill his desire. That's why he gave the Narayani Sena. And Narayani Sena fought along with the Kauravas. So in the war, it's like they're going back to God. Huh? Yeah, they're going back to God because they're doing for the Dharma, right? For God's work. So they knew that already. So till here, okay. The next we'll recite together. Veer Margam. Veer Gati. It's called Veer Gati. Yes, same thing. Yes. सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथम स्थाप्य में अच्युत निरीक्षे अहम योद्धु कामनव स्थितान् कैर कैर कैर्माया सह योद्धुवस्यम् अस्मिन् रण समुद्यमे सेनयोर सेनयोरुभयोर्भर्यो मध्ये रथम स्थाप्य मेच्युत यावदेतान् निरीक्षेऽहम् योद्धुः कामान् अवस्थितान् कैर्माया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे रणसमुद्यमे. ठीक है. Anyone from the side? Arjun watching, right. I wish that Arjun watching. Arjuna Vacha Arjuna Vach. Say, Arjuna Vach. Say, Paryo प्रथम स्थाप्य Translation by Sri Bhaktivedanta Singapore. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. First instruction to Krishna. Right. So here say that, O infallible one. Infallible means one who is not fallen. Right. Achyuta. Right. So God or Krishna is called Achyuta. As a Jew, we all are called Chyut. So what is the difference between fallible, infallible, or Chyut and Achyut? Okay. Okay. That is the literal meaning of it. Any other meaning? Fallible, infallible. Right. Why we are called fallen? A couple of reasons. Right. So why all the jiva are called fallen or Chyut? Because our original position is, or our constitutional position is, what is our constitutional position? दास से तो ठीक है, दस से तो है, मतलब वो एक अलग चीज है, बट क्या हम क्या हैं, और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल और ओरिजिनल आइडेंटिटी पोजीशन. ओके, व्हाट इज आवर ओरिजिनल आइडेंटिटी? वी आर souls, right? And we used to live in the spiritual world with God. We used to serve them. That is the serving path, right? We used to live in the Vaikuntha and we used to serve. But then, because of our desires, that I also want to enjoy. Why only God is winning? Why only Krishna is getting all the pleasure? Why can't I get it? So, because of such kind of desire, this is our Shastra thing. And because of such desires, those souls who desires like that, they fell down to material world. That is the fallen thing. Right? That's why we are called Chur. That is one of the reasons. Another reason why we are fallen. That Chut. Chut also means, like you said, जिसका नाश नहीं होता है, जिसका विनाश, मतलब अच्युत में जिसका विनाश नहीं होता है, चित में जिसका विनाश होता है. Like whatever gets destroyed. So our position is actually Chut. It's a fallen, right? It's a temporary position. When we come to this world, nothing is permanent. You may be prime minister, you may be president, you may be even dictator. But those positions are also not permanent. So our designation or positions are also temporary. Right. One day we have to give it up. Someone else will take. Like they were Mughals, they were like, we are great king. Son comes up, he becomes a little older, kills the father or throw him in jail and becomes the king. Even they were all dictators, right? They were also not spared. So that's how our position is in this world. Take any example. Everyone is having temporary position and designations only. That is one of the reasons we are called Chiru. Right? That our positions here in this world is temporary. It is not permanent. While on the other hand, God is Achyuta. Krishna is Achyuta. Because he is he has no beginning, no end. He is Ajanma. Bhagavan says in chapter 4 that I am Ajanma. I do like you can't see my start and the end. Then you no one knows. Right. He said I am Ajanma. When he comes to this earth also he comes in a form like with a associate not association with the help of Yog Maya he takes avatar. He comes like Krishna avatar is called Purna avatar. There is a reason for that. Right? Why? So whenever he comes into this material world, he comes with the help of Yog Maya and takes an avatar. It's not like he is born. Still he is unborn. He just takes a form and comes. Right? So that's why Krishna or God is called Achyuta. Why we are called Chyuta? Because first we are fallen from the spiritual world to this material world. Second, our designation, our position is not fixed. It is temporary. Now there are some devotee, right? And they are say they are a great devotee and they feel I am very much connected to God. And there are some devotee who fall down also in that way. They again started enjoying the material world. So they are also chilled. Right. And all the devotees who are even though they are not falling down in this material world of for the material desires, but because their position in this world is temporary, so they are also chill. They will go back to Godhead and become one, not one, but like a chill position they will attain. Right. So that is why here Krishna is like here told as Achyuta. So what happens here? Arjuna said, "O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here who desires to fight." Now he gives instruction to Krishna, like take my chariot between the two armies. So that is also Kshatriya code. Before actually the war starts, it will not start. People will patiently wait, not like Abhi, dekha rahi, shoot on sight nahi hota. Right? They will wait, they will follow the Kshatriya code. So he goes in the between to see as source the strength, like how is the Kaurava army. He knows, mostly he knows like who are all part of that. But he goes in the between and he sees that like what is the army. So he asks to see Arjuna wanted to ask like, yeah, take me to the middle so that I can see who are all present, what is their strength in this great trial. So here, Srila Prabhupada mentions like, although Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy, he was engaged in the service of friend. He never fails in his affection for his devotee. So very important line these two. Although he has accepted the position of a charioteer for his devotee, his supreme position was not challenged. These are very two important lines. Like God being God, he is not under anyone's control. He does what he wants to do. Right? It's not like anyone, even the Maya who works under God and who controls everything, everyone. She works under the guidance of God. She does not control God. Right? But this line is mentioned here that God, in a way, like it is mentioned here, that God can actually be controlled by the devotees. It's how? Because he loves his devotees so much that he can do anything for them. Arjuna is one of the greatest example of right. Arjuna was his eternal associate. He's a great devotee. And God, it's not like Arjuna cannot get any charity. He has crores of people who can be his charity. But God chose to become his charity. Right? Only for the love of devotee. And we discussed that how the things were at that time. Like this was so much huge noise was there that someone can say they the charioteer they cannot even listen. So how they used to run the chariot by kicking. So being a god, a greatest renunciation like being he takes the position of a charioteer जिसमें devotee लात मार रहा है God. ठीक है, he is hitting the kicking the Lord himself. The greatest personality of God is being kicked by a devotee. Right? He takes that position out of the love of his devotee. That's how Sri Krishna is. That's why he's called Bhagwan also. So the second thing say that he accepted position. Although he accepted position of a charioteer for his devotee, his position was not challenged. Why it is very important? A lot of time we hear the story. I'll come to those part which is a little probably a lot of you might have that question that Krishna also worshipped other devatas, right? Then how can you say Krishna is the supreme? The Krishna also did जब सुदामा when Sudama reached to Krishna's palace, he also did मतलब उनके पैर धुलना ठीक है. He washed their feet. He did puja. Does that mean that Sudama is bigger than Krishna? No, right? So whatever God does, there are lots of examples for that also, right? There are lots of things he did out of love for his devotees. But that does not mean that devotees become bigger than Krishna. When you become devotee, or when anyone become devotee, it is not starting with the mindset that I should be able to control Krishna. Let me become a devotee. Then you will not become a devotee. It is always with the attitude of service to the Krishna. I am born here only to do the service to Krishna. Nothing else. That is our mindset, not to control God. God only gets controlled by the love of devotee. Right? That's what is being mentioned here. And the servitor is always ready to render service to the Lord. And similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees, assuming the advantageous position of ordering him than he does being the giver of order. So God takes a position of order supply for the devotee. Like devotee will order me to do this thing, I will do it. Because he is my devotee, he loves me so much, he is surrendered to me. So, and one very important thing is like God also finds very pleasure when he serves the devotee. So Vaikuntha we discussed how is the Vaikuntha. Right, in Vaikuntha everyone loves to serve each other. Everyone serves God and God also serves in the same way. And when we serve God, we get the pleasure. When God serves us, we get even more pleasure. God gets pleasure when the devotees serve Him. But when God serves, those devotees gets even more bigger pleasure. Right? That's the whole essence of Ras Leela also. Not going very deep into that, but those gopis, the Ras Leela was not our material understanding of how people dance and do all kind of this physical thing. It was never like that. It was just exchange of thought. And when God is giving them pleasure, those gopis are getting 10,000 times more pleasure. That's how Shastra says. 10,000 times more pleasure they are getting when God gives them pleasure. Right? That's why they were leaving everything, always remembering God. That Ras Leela is the purest form of love for God. Right? The gopis' love is all the Acharya consider is the greatest form of devotion anyone can have for God. So, yeah, the important thing to understand here is uh, that even though God does service to his devotee, that does not make him smaller than the devotee. Like he is still the greatest, and he happily renders service to the devotees. That's very important to understand. And God only can be conquered. Not that we should go for this mentality that we should conquer the Lord, but he can only be controlled by the love of devotees. Nothing else. Like, that's about it. So yeah. So that's what he obtains the transcendental pleasure, although he is infallible master in all the circumstances. And he was very anxious to see who was the leading person. So that coming to Arjuna, like Arjuna was very anxious to see who were the leading persons present on the battlefield. So he asked to put the chariot in the middle, so that he can see that kaun hai wahan pe, who are all there. He wanted to see them again and see how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted one. So we would have seen. some movie will let me see you one last time. Like, okay, how dare you are like, you know that this is wrong you are doing, you know that wrong thing you are doing. But let me see your face, the shame on your face that why you are doing this. We would have seen some similar things in the movie. Right? कि एक बार बहुत तेरे को शर्म नहीं आ रही? Are you not ashamed doing this thing? So he was also the similar kind of thing. Let me see their faces, like how they are willing to fight that unjust war, which is not dharma, dharmochit. So we'll finish here. We are on time also. Right. Any questions? He's the one from. How? Sorry, I could not hear. Why? He's the one who is fought for everything, right? Like he never instructed his children, this is bad, you should not do it. He always influenced his children. Also, for all this reasons, he is the main culprit. One of the biggest. I want to say also, yes. He's the bigger brother. He got but why Lord Krishna gave Mukti? So why Lord Krishna gave Mukti to Dhritarashtra? Right, even though the whole war is caused by him. So again, the answer is what we have done previously. He played a part. If he would have not have done this, think of how all the warriors would have been assembled at a place so that they all can begin at the same time. He was just playing a part in the Lord's plan. He's part of the Leela. And it was all put in his mind by Lord himself that you do this so that this all Leela would be there, the Mahabharata will happen and everyone will be good. If he would not have done this, the whole thing would have not happened. We would not be sitting here discussing about Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata and anything. So that was the only reason because he was just fulfilling Lord's desire. Not that Lord told him that thing, but put in his mind and he was doing whatever Lord wanted him to do. That's why he gave him mukti. And after Mahabharata, when everyone is killed, actually Lord Dhritarashtra, he understood all this part. He did not get liberation immediately. He goes for he takes the sannyas, he goes back in the forest, Vanprastha sannyas he takes, right, and he goes back to do the austerity or to do the penance for the Lord. And then only he got mukti, not like immediately, right. So he does his part. Like whatever is the prescribed in the Shastra, all things he did. Then only he got the mukti. It's not like the war is over, okay, you did your job, now go back to God. No. He still had to go to the sannyas. He had to take the sannyas, go back to jungle and do the tapasya to get back to God. So that's why he got the mukti. Because he understood. Stays along with Pandavas in the Vidu. You are the one who did but still survive the Pandavas. This is the time you need to regret and you need to get mukti. Absolutely. Yes. So Vidul convinced him to go back. Like you have done so many sinful things. You have caused all this war. Now to do the paschatap of all things you have done, you should go and do this. So it was Vidur's convincing he goes back to do the austerity and to do the tapasya for Lord. He goes back to forest. So Vidur was from starting, he was counseling him, don't do this is wrong. But uh, he was so much blinded in the Putra Moh, right, that he could not see anything else. Anything else, he was not able to see what is right and wrong. But when all the Kauravas were finished, then Putra Moh is khatam. It's finished, right? Then kya ho? Then he was able to understand. She needed authority, right? It was. Yes. By by doing all these things, she got the Krishna. She curse the Krishna, that again is the Krishna Leela. Study. Right. She curse the Krishna, but that story is like, yes, she curse the Krishna, you will die like this and now. But what, our Shastra says that even though we know the story that hunter through his arrow, it strike the. That was because of the distress, what's it called? Like you killed my all the sons. So I curse you that your whole dynasty will be finished. And by the way, why it is also Lord's plan? Because even God did not want the Yaduvans to survive. They were, we saw that there were a lot of great generals in Yaduvans. They were also part of that same Kshatriya who started doing operations of people. He did not want the Yaduvans to survive at all. Right. So that was also plan of him, so that in a way, my whole generation will also be completely destroyed and finished. Nowadays, whatever people say Yaduvans, they are not really Yaduvans. Yes, they are Yadavs, but they are not actually part of Krishna descendant. Every single person, uh, they passed away. Right. So he did not want them to survive. That was a Lord's plan, and that's why he put uh, in a way, Gandhari was a medium for this to be done. So she cursed that your whole, like you have finished my all descendants, my whole family, you will also, your whole family will be finished like that. So that's why it happened. So it was all crystal clear. It's very, a lot of things we cannot understand with our material understanding. It's become very difficult. So, but it does not matter. Like in the end, it's surrendering to Lord, the devotion, being devotee, doing our devotional service is what matters. Why this happened, why that happened, it's all secondary. Even if we know, we don't know, it should not change our primary goal. That we have to do the devotional service, go back to God. That's all the crux of everything. Right? When we go ahead, you'll see that every single chapter, every single verse is like going back to go to bhakti. Right? We'll see that. Any other question? Right.
I used to know about Parshura. So Parshura is one of the seven children.
Yeah. Parashuram is also, yes.
Yeah, he's one of the seven children. That's why like he's in he, he's there and in Sanjay is there. Yeah. And even Lord you talk about but what happened after that in Gedi?
Okay. Not much, not much. I am aware of what is given, what happened to him, but it is told that he is still there. Like,
But basically on the
like Hanumanji, Parasuram, Ashwatthama, no one knows what happened to them.
after you like most of the characters we are not
We are not hearing because we are telling you, it is just 5,000 years which is passed for, like, Mahabharata happened just 5,000 years back. And so maybe, I don't know, in our lifetime we'll come to know or not what happened to them. But yes, what is told that they are still there on earth in some form. It is actually said that they all will suffer together when Kalki Avatar will happen. Till then, we wait. Or we don't have to wait. Let's go back to Godhead. We'll watch from there. Why to be part of that? Alright. Okay. Any question?
now we are talking about the other conscious and the roar.
Hmm.
So what happened after that, like when he's, for instance, like all Krishna's peripherals will be going to the and come to the basic.
Huh.
So, but after Krishna story, like, where he just came, leaving all his peripherals to
Paraphernalia.
Gajendra, right?
Satya Vishnu, Gajendra Moksha. Yes.
Very good.
Correct.
So in that thing, he left everything, right? I mean, so is it like every time he wears them or?
No, it's not wasted. So, like Krishna takes avatar and comes back here, his paraphernalia also takes avatar and comes here. It is not like that directly comes from there. Like Krishna has a lot of expenses. We discussed Vishnu, Sankarsana, right? There are a lot of Aniruddha. There are thousands of forms of Krishna, expansion, who are living in different planets, and they're all associated. Like they're all expansions of Krishna, right? And why it is there? Because if you think of it like you are living alone at a place, how your life would be. So Krishna also expands himself so that he can have associates with whom he can do all leela, he can enjoy, he can play, he can do a lot of things. Right. So those all are expenses. So these all expenses also persist Sank, like you say, Venkateswar Swami also have Sank and Chakra. Krishna also have Sank and Chakra. You go to other which form, they also will be possessing same thing. Right. So those also take expansion and comes to it. What happens to them? It goes back to like Krishna did not really die. That's what I was coming to that. Like it was not like he died and he left his body. He goes back. When that thing happened, like the arrow, even some acharyas say that arrow did not even touch his leg. It was just a plan, right? It was just passed, and then he goes back. Just to finish off, that curtain close, right? He goes back. Similar thing, other things will also go. But yeah, nowhere it is mentioned what happens to that thing specifically. But if we can think, extrapolate the same thing, like God goes back in the same form, those things will also go back in the same form to himself. No, I am not. I am not aware of it. I am not aware of it. That is Chaitanya Jagannath, but he thought Krishna gave them. I'm not aware of that really. I heard that like yeah, Krishna and Jagannath are both same, right? So Jagannath form is a form of Krishna. Yes, it is Krishna. So it is. There are stories that when you put a stethoscope, there was some scientist who was hearing the heartbeat from the yeah. But why would he give? He himself is the Jagannath, right? I will have to find out. I'm not really aware about that story. I'll check with Niran Prabhu. I will check with Niran Prabhu whether how what the story was.
That because